hatchbacks spoil us right now. You may choose from 3, 4, 5 or 6 cylinders, front, rear or all-wheel drive, manual, auto, or dual clutch. Various configurations of doors, seats, boot sizes. Perhaps a drift mode or some launch control, if you fancy. And at the senior end of the hot hatch pecking order, you find cars democratizing power that has no right living in a hatchback. Truly supercar humbling performance has arrived in your Asda car park. When the great big book of hot hatch history is finally written, it may well be Mercedes-AMG's first contribution that started the ball rolling. Is the soon-to-die A45 Mk1 the world's first true hyperhatch? Several Mitsubishi Evos and Subaru Imprezas with turbos the size of beach balls in service. Intervals more frequent than a DFS sale had brought 350 bhp plus into a sort of normal family car before. But the A45 was something different and truly absurd when it first launched back in 2013. A Mercedes Benz containing the single most powerful 4-cylinder engine in the world at that time. Displacing a mere 2 liters, the 1.8 bars turbo-boosted unit developed 355 bhp and 327 pounds-feet. It'd be years before the Ford Focus RS got anywhere near that. BMW's straight-six M135i was blown out of the water. We'd expect nothing less from AMG's first crack at a hot hatchback. AMG thrives on outrageous engines, cackling and crackling from under their hand-signed builders' plaques. It would never have done for AMG to simply have another 2.0-liter turbo with about as much horse as a Golf R. To put AMG on the map in an all-new segment, it had to bring the muscle car noise from its halcyon V8s and distill it into a 4-pot. They may have overdone it, though the original A45's motor was impressively tractable for its sheer power density. Scooby and Evo tuners from the early 2000s would have wept for this level of on-demand urge. The A45 still took some winding up. Nothing much happened below 3,000 revolutions per minute. And when the single turbo did wake up and start hauling, the buzzy, parping note hardened as the revs ripped around to a 7,000 revolutions per minute cutout that actually felt a little pessimistic. It loved to rev. The engine, like all classic AMGs, dominated the A45 experience. It's a ball of tightly wound energy, barely contained in the A-Class's pocket-sized footprint, and so full of anger. Ironically, it actually brings to mind a Japanese greatest hits album, Part Evo. Part Type R, garnished with skyline pace. Now, if you're scoffing at my rose-tinted spectacles and thinking I've forgotten that the A45 was firm, flawed, worry not. Merc's hyperhatch was far from perfect out of the box. The ride was punishing, the noise droned, and the 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox was at a loss to keep up with the engine's lust for life, which also lead to a monumental appetite for fuel, especially once the AWD Golf R Mk1 arrived. There was no avoiding the fact the A45 felt slightly flat-footed in comparison. More like a front-drive car with unimpeachable traction than a chassis being pinged out of corners by its rear wheels. AMG was learning on the fly. So when it came time to facelift the A45, it barely bothered messing around with the car's ultra-subtle "Is that a diesel? Whoops, it's disappeared" styling. Instead, it massively re-engineered the car. The gearbox's software was refreshed for faster shifts, and gears 4, 5, 6, and 7 were all shortened, so the car could carry on chomping the horizon after its initial getaway phase. AMG also added dual-mode dampers as a popular option. Comfort mode was about where a Golf R had sport mode, if you catch my drift. And sport mode in the AMG was right up there with the Civic Type Rs and RS Meganes of this world, for being firmer than a drill sergeant's mattress. More choice arrived for your ears too. Via a sports exhaust with flaps you could close at the prod of a button. Quiet for leaving your driveway on a 5 a.m. airport run. Fireworks for the MTB roads 10 minutes later. AMG even introduced a limited slip diff, so the car would deploy its power more cleanly in a turn. And just to be sure that it worked, it added more power. Obviously,